Good morning, everybody. This is the Rabid Hedgehog, and yes, I know it's been a couple weeks again, but we've had weather, much weather. Had snow and everything on the ground, and you know, right now we're in between, and we're for some reason getting 70-degree days in the middle of January, right between a snowstorm and an ice storm. So hey, we'll take what we can get. That way we can ride, right? At any rate, heck, I've been enjoying that new job. I know I announced it last video, and I'm very, very happy with it. I know a lot of people are like, I wish you could have worked for a multi-line dealership, and you know, it's one of those things where I took what I could get, and it's in motorcycles, and that's the whole thing. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's just strictly Harley-Davidson. Trust me, I get to talk about everything. Everybody has everything when they come into a dealer. It doesn't matter if you're a Harley or if you're multi-line or not. You still get to talk about everybody's bikes and, you know, have a good time doing it. That's the great part. At any rate, there is some news, of course, announced on Monday that Victory Motorcycles is no longer going to be produced. The parent company, Polaris, has decided that they want to go ahead and you know, put all their money behind Indian and Slingshot, actually. So they are going to say goodbye to Victory after 18 years, and it's kind of one of those things where, you know, during my review I kind of said that, you know, the two Victories I rode, I felt that Polaris was kind of ignoring them, you know, and that they needed some help, that they felt you know, antiquated, and they weren't quite up to par, not even to their Indian brethren, you know, and they were only a couple of years old at that time. And that's the thing, you know, that's how I felt about it. I know a lot of people gave me some backlash over those Victory reviews, but you know, it's one of those things when you're in this kind of deal where you put yourself out there in the public that you need to expect to have people push back. So I didn't really care, you know, I just kept them up there, and yeah, they weren't the best, and yeah, I still wanted to ride the Victories again to give them another shot because, you know, they deserved one. But now it's, you know, one of those things of I don't know why I should now. Now, one thing is there's going to still be support for those bikes for 10 years, basically. The company did announce that they're going to, you know, support the dealerships and trying to get them liquidated, and also to do warranty and repair for up to 10 years. So at least if you do buy a Victory right now, if you've been wanting one, you'll probably get an excellent deal on one, and you'll be able to have support for 10 years. I mean, the average person keeps a motorcycle for 3 years as it is, so it's not like you're really going to be missing anything except for resale value, and probably about the only thing. Then again, they may become collectible, and if they become collectible, then, you know, you might have made yourself a nice tidy investment. But it really depends on how people really view the final product. You know, it's one of those things. You never know how people are going to respond. You never know how people are going to, you know, treat them in the end until after they're gone. You know, a lot of people, you know, look at Indian as being back, but truly it is still Polaris. It's not Indian themselves, you know, as a resurgent company. And it's going to be all right, because whenever you have, you know, everybody concentrating on one thing now, then your engineers and your design departments and everybody else, you know, will, you know, push forth a little bit more effort into what they're doing, and we might see an improved Indian bike. We might see a broader lineup, because right now really Indian only has one type of you know, smaller cruiser, and that's going to be the Scout and the Scout 60. Technically they're the same bike in a sense, except for the engine. I mean, the whole frame and everything is the same, and the transmission's slightly different, but that's about it. So it's one of those things of, you know, hold on, let me get on the interstate here. There we go. It's one of those things where we'll see how time treats Victory, basically, and how time treats Polaris, because there's going to be some people, and I've already seen some comments out there that have kind of confirmed this, that are going to feel like they've been left behind and that they didn't have loyalty from the manufacturer. And even though that there's a second product out there, they're sitting there saying, well, I've seen that they outsourced to Mexico, I've seen that they've done this, I've seen that they've done that, and I just cannot accept that, and the company wasn't, you know, being honest with us, and they're not giving us a quality American motorcycle anymore. So, you know, I don't want to support Polaris either and all this. And it's like, okay. I mean, I haven't substantiated any of those claims or anything, but like I said, I read some comments on Revzilla's Facebook page and in the comment section under where Victory announced that they would no longer be making motorcycles. And you know, that's kind of one of those things of, are people going to treat them like that? Now, of course, I saw some that said, this is going to be the best time for me to get that bike. Maybe it'll become a collector. You know, I saw both sides of it. So, you know, I don't know what you guys think out there about Victory giving out, or, you know, Polaris putting all their resources behind the two current brands they've got of Slingshot and, you know, Indian. But, you know, I think it's a good move for them. And I really did wish that we could have three quality American brands out there, three brands that represent us. You know, I wish that Victory could have stayed around so that we could have Victory, Indian, and Harley, and all working, you know, basically compete here in the United States and around the world, and help boost the technology of all of them, you know, because without healthy competition, you don't have healthy innovation. So, with that being said too, I could see, to be honest, that, you know, with Victory being gone and Indian being the only thing, if they started introducing new bikes to the line, and they started, you know, introducing new technologies and new engines and new packages that, you know, start rivaling Harley Davidson, then we might actually see a little bit of a difference here coming in. Like, we may actually see, you know, Indian become a much better motorcycle, and Harley Davidson has to respond, or Harley Davidson may take this as a, they have to retool, and we've got an opportunity here, and they may go ahead and, you know, throw the first blow down and come out with an innovation that Indian has to respond to. So, you know, right now this is one of those moments where this could be an exciting time for the American motorcycle, in that we may see some awesome things come from Harley Davidson and Indian to try to compete with each other on a more square level and to try to one-up each other. So we might actually see some awesome things happen. So I wouldn't take Victory's demise as completely bad news. I would like to, you know, think optimistically ahead and go, hey, these guys might pull out some awesome bikes, you know, and help us grow, you know, as an industry here in the United States as we get competitive. You know, right now you have the Japanese Big Four going after each other all the time when it comes to, you know, their leader bikes, and now they're going into sport nakeds and everything, and you're seeing constant innovation out of Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, and Honda right now. I mean, even Honda's starting to move around a little bit, which they haven't done in a few years. So, you know, you see those Big Four trying to fight each other for supremacy in the sport bike and naked sport models. So we're seeing some awesome things happening there, and I'm hoping that that kind of happens in the United States with our big cruisers, that we'll see some awesome innovation, you know, for those two companies, Indian and Harley Davidson, where they start to, you know, really get out there and actually compete with each other in a different level. So think of it that way, you know. So at any rate, you know, talking about the job, you know, like I said, we were happy to hear that Victory was gone. I mean, that takes one competitor out of our, you know, region basically. But the one thing is, though, you know, you got to kind of think about it like you need to make sure that your home company stays together too. And to be honest, you know, I love working for Harley Davidson. I've actually learned quite a bit more about the motor company now that I've been there for about a month. And, you know, I really do think that they are actually trying very hard to listen to the riders, to listen to the people that are out there on these bikes, you know, to, you know, really put forth a lot of effort to redesigning, to making sure the bike is ergonomic, to making sure that the bike is what people want, you know, and that's actually pretty cool that they're doing that. And I hope that they continue to try very hard, you know, in doing that. And I know that they need to do another thing too, is possibly get down into my age group and lower as well. You get that early 20s through your mid 30s, you know, those folks don't really ride Harley Davidson. I'm one of the few that really does, and of course there's a few, you know, the few at my job that do as well. You know, so we need to get down there and figure out what you guys want in a bike. I know a lot of guys out there want the speed and the, you know, precision of a sport bike. But there's not a lot of, there's some guys out there that are like me that even at a young age were hurt enough where their back doesn't feel so good or something, and they want something that they can enjoy, and I want to see what Harley Davidson would do for them, because right now, we've done a lot of the touring line, starting with 2014's Rushmore and some other things like that. So I like what they've done there. I just don't know if that's enough yet. I think we need to go down in the line and figure out where else we can do things. I know we released the Harley Davidson Street as kind of the urban brawler. The only thing is that a lot of people do not have respect for that bike here in the U.S. because it's not a traditional Harley. It's a small displacement liquid cooled V-twin with no noise, and that does appeal to the younger generation more so than loud, large displacement V-twin with a bunch of noise. But it's one of those things where I don't think it was quite enough, and I don't think a lot of people really know much about the Street. I mean, they've done some improvements on it since 15 when they released. Biggest improvement was the braking package here in the U.S. I'm not sure about international markets. I know I've stuck up for the Street in a couple of forums, and got some backlash from international markets about recall, or they wanted them to recall the brakes, and nobody's done anything. And I mean, I have to say that yes, 15, the brakes were terrible. They were not the best in the world, and they faded quite a bit. But the one thing is, they only really faded if you really, put forth so much effort that they had to fade, if you were really overusing them. But if you're using them in normal everyday riding, I didn't seem to have any problems with them, except for the fact it took a lot meatier of a grab on the handle and a lot harder of a push on the pedal to make those things engage. Now they've got that where it responds right away, and that's awesome. But I wish they would have done that the first year. So and also it's one of those things where I love the Street so much, I've actually sold 2 of them, and that's one of the first 3 bikes I sold. 2 of them were Streets, because I do love those little guys so much. I think that they're awesome bikes that a lot of people ignore for no particularly good reason. I mean, they have just as much or more power than the 883 Sporty. They ride a little bit more traditional standard, and they have a much more nimble chassis than the Sporty as well. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of things going for the Street, and I really wish that the Street, would get a lot more respect. And that way, you'd see people go into them a little bit more, and that's all age groups, because, I mean, everybody can ride a Street. It's a great commuter bike. It's a great city bike. It's one of those bikes that's, for traffic like this, when you get stuck in traffic in 103-degree weather, it's liquid cooled. You're not going to have to worry about the thing overheating, pinging and ponging, and losing power. It's going to be able to sit there reliably. I mean, I wish Oklahoma was a state where we could do lane split, but we can't, So when I'm stuck in traffic like this, I desperately need a bike that is liquid cooled, and I'm on Ray, which is my 15 Harley Davidson Night Rod, and, it's liquid cooled as well. That was part of the reason why I wanted Ray. The other part was, of course, it was my dream bike for years and years and years. So, I got the best of both worlds. So, it's one of those things where I want to see Harley Davidson come out and start swinging, and see what they can do for the younger rider as well. Not saying that they need to make a sport bike, I'm just saying that they need to make a bike that would be appealing to that group, a little bit more so than the Street, or market the Street a little bit better than what they're doing, because I don't really see much marketing out there for them. But the thing is, I like everything that Harley has when it comes to, their touring and everything. The much improved touring models. It's amazing how much difference there was between the touring models of 2016 to 17. That 107 engine and 114 engine of the Milwaukee 8 is just a phenomenal engine. And every day when I'm out there, moving the used bikes and I feel the old ones, it reminds me every day of how much better these bikes truly have become. So, I know that Harley's pressing for innovation in the upper tier. Hopefully that engine will carry on into 2017 into the, lower frames like the Softail and the Dyna, and that way you can get that engine all the way across the line. And the biggest thing I want to see is maybe take the Sportster and turn it into that bike with the Street, have the Street for the entry level and turn the Sportster into like that mid-level you know, group that's an experienced rider and a little bit more, you know, fun riding. You know, it's one of those things where the Evo's been around, or the Sportster Evo's been around since '86 basically, and it's time for them to do some modification. You know, they modified the 103 after 18 years to, you know, no longer be the twin cam. We got the Milwaukee 8 single cam, 4 valves per cylinder. You know, we got the big change there. And that's the thing I want to see in the Sportster as well. You know, get some innovation out there that makes logical sense. You know, that's what I want to see in the, you know, years to come with Harley Davidson. And they may be forced to by emissions. They may be forced to by something. You know, and it could be Indian now that's going to have a full set of engineers constantly with them. You know, so that's just going to be one of those things to watch for in the future. You know, how is it going to turn out in the future? So, you know, at any rate, back to the back to my other ramblings. Like I said, I love the job. I love being in motorcycles. I love talking to people about motorcycles. It's awesome to see excuse me, the people that have come in and got to talk with them. So, you know, you can call me Michael, you can call me whatever, but I'm at 4th Under Harley Davidson in Moore, Oklahoma, and I definitely love what I do. It's much better than the insurance industry. I actually enjoy getting up in the morning. I enjoy dealing with this traffic every morning. It's 31 miles one way to work. So yes, it's a bit of a ride, but I get to ride, and that's the awesome part, you know. And yeah, there's some heavy traffic. Yeah, there's some things I got to deal with that I previously didn't have to, but let me tell you something, it's worth it. It is very worth it to get up in the morning and do this job. You know, and I'm still got one more technical week of training, but I've been out there on the floor and got to talk to some people, and like I said, I got a street bob and 2 street 750s out the door so far, you know, in just the first month alone. And I know it's winter, it's a little harder to sell bikes, and also I was in, you know, training much of that time, but hey, that's an awesome start, you know, and I'm just, you know, anxious to get even better. You know, coming into January here, I still think we could sell quite a few, because we still got some good days like this that you can ride and, you know, and enjoy the weather and all that. So if you guys are interested and you're in the Oklahoma area, stop by and say hi to me. Like I said, my name is Michael, or Rabid Hedgehog. You can ask for either one. They'll be able to direct you to who it is, and I'll be happy to talk with you and see what we can do for you. So at any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog. If you have any more questions for me or any topics you want me to cover, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to be working on another video about how to do it, or how to use a dual sport in the city here pretty soon. I had that request a couple of videos ago, and I'm going to get that done. I'm going to try to re-edit the video for 2-Up riding. I've been working on that one forever, but I had a computer problem. My computer was zapped by power a few months back, and I lost a lot of things, and I'm getting everything recovered on that one hard drive that I thought had died completely, but hey, it's actually somewhat alive. So hopefully I'll be able to re-edit the video for 2-Up riding that my wife and I did, and that way I can get that out there. That was requested a few months back. So I got some videos I'll be working on, and that way I can keep in touch with you guys. Have a great one, keep the shiny side up, and we'll catch you on the next ride.